Back on the River Severn, still targeting the barbel and chub, but in a swim I've never fished before, and hopefully a standard approach will work. So with fingers crossed, we'll see how we get on. Here we go, first casts. Left hand rod, 2.5 ounce block end feeder filled with barbel mixed ground bait, hemp and micro robin red pellets, and 3 8mm robin red pellets on a hair rig to a size 8 hook. Cast that probably a third of the way across, just a gentle lob, just on the edge of the main flow. Bait runner on. On the right hand rod, just a 2 ounce block end feeder, again filled with barbel mixed ground bait, hemp, robin red micro pellets, and a piece of meat on a hair rig, and again on a size 8 hook. And we'll cast this probably a third of the way out. Look. Put the bait runner on. Sit back and wait for the fish to come along. A few minutes into the session, little knock on the upstream rod, and there's a bite on the downstream rod. No, I'd have missed it. I thought that was I was going to be on. It's had the meat away, so it was definitely biting, not a liner. Fairly good indication that there's fish about. We'll rebait, give it a cast, and see if another one turns up. Probably only a small chub anyway. Having missed that first bite, rebaited, give it another cast, same sort of place. A few minutes later, there you go again, same sort of thing, and yeah, there's a fish on this time. Doesn't feel particularly big, but if I get this in, avoided the blank. Reasonable start to the session. And quite high up here, so a bit awkward getting the landing net down there. Yeah, it's only a small chub, but we'll take that. Get it in the net. First of many, hopefully. Give it a little rest. Unhook it in the net. Quick show to the camera. Yeah, maybe pushing half a pound. Back in the river. Another quick rest. Let it swim out of its own accord, nice and strong. And it's away. And get it back out there in anticipation for the next fish. I've been getting a lot of these little knocks and rattles and leaving it until they stop and then finding out that there's no bait left. Meat's gone. So I'll just hit this one. And there's a fish on. Maybe I should have been hitting more of these bites. I thought they were little chub rattles. So what's this? Oh, and it's a little dace. So Dace maybe have been whittling the bait away and it's caught on a size 8 hook. Just a few ounces. I'll pop it back in the river. And we'll see if we catch any more. With very few indications on the left hand rod close in, I've decided to cast it out into the main flow and see if there's any better luck out there. And I'll have a go at recasting the right hand rod into the same sort of spots before. And there's a bite on the Robin Reds. Now there's definitely something there. Yeah, and a fish on. Well, that didn't take long. Should have been perhaps fishing out there from the start. It's not a barbel, but feels like a reasonable chub. Yeah, nice chub. Bigger than the first one anyway. Awkward trying to get it into the net. It's just hanging there and I can't really get the net to it for some reason. Ease it in. Yeah. Well, that was a little bit more awkward than I anticipated. But it's safely in the net. Just leave it in there for a minute or so, let it recover. Get the unhooking mat out. Get it unhooked. Quick show to the camera. Maybe £1.5, £1.75. So we've rested it up for a minute or so and let it swim out. Away it goes. Happy with that. See if there's any more out there. Can hear a motor upstream. There's a power boat coming down. Sounds like a bit of a problem with this stretch. There's pleasure craft going through your swim. I've been holding a glass of wine. This is late evening as well. A little bit later on again, you can hear voices. Again, coming downstream. Just retrieve the rod. More pleasure craft. 3 in the canoe. 3 men in a boat.
Are we out of the way?
Look at that, straight through where I'd been fishing. Nope, that's the last we see of anybody coming through a swim. Well, fingers crossed anyway, that nobody turns up. A good while later, just as it's starting to get dark and with few indications on the rods, apart from the odd chub rattle, and there's a bite, just as you're starting to despair, thinking that things aren't going to happen. And out of the blue, there's a take. It feels a reasonably sized fish. It's probably a chub. It's definitely not a barbel, but it's bigger than the previous fish I've hooked. Yeah, that's a reasonably sized chub. Awkward trying to get it in the net. Taken several attempts to get it in. Go on, get in. Get in. Yeah, finally. Again, a chub on the meat. This is much bigger than the other fish I've caught. Get it down, unhook it. There it is. That's got to be pushing £3. Delighted with that one. Still no barbel, but fingers crossed something might come along later. Just give it another little rest. We'll let it swim out when it's good and ready. And away it goes. There you go. The long-tailed tit decides to land on one of my rods. And I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you did, please keep supporting the channel and watch out for more upcoming videos of me river fishing. And maybe I'll bump into you on the bank sometime.